Hello and welcome to The Angry Sniper. Special episode time. Yes, we have some 5.0 information for the upcoming expansion. So, given the sniper that I am, obviously I'm going to take a peek. Just as a quick point, if you hear any background noise, the neighbours are doing some drilling, not much I can do about that. So if some odd noise does come through, you'll... well, tough. I can't do anything about it. Anyway, there's a link in the description below. By all means, click it, check it out. There's information on every single class in the game, on every single spec in the game. All the new stuff which is coming out, a whole bunch of utility changes. If you want spoilers in that sense, in terms of what we're getting, what we're losing, what's being changed, you need to look at it. So, obviously, hang on, is that the cat? Yes, that was the cat. Do you ever get this feeling sometimes that it's going to be one of those days? I have definitely got that feeling at the moment. Anyway, my apologies. Let's get straight to it. So, here we are. Straight away you can see removed. Yep, we're losing some stuff. We are losing Shiv. I don't happen to like that. I'll explain why later on. I'm very unhappy about that, actually. Overload shot. Yeah, not too bothered. Slicing droid. Not useful for PvP in the slightest, but it was a fun for PvE, but still not too bothered. An interesting one in Debilitate. Now, Debilitate is a 4-meter range skill. We're losing that, and we're gaining Maim, which is exactly the same in every way, apart from the fact it's got a 10-meter range. So, okay, great, that's a buff. I approve. I'm actually going to skip all of this and go to the thing which I'm the most unhappy about the most, and it is related to Shiv. Now, Shiv has a 6-second cooldown. That's very important. Yes, it is melee, so that's 4-meter range. Let's go all the way down to merged utilities, re-establish range. And you can see they have merged re-established range with Counter-Strike. Now, Counter-Strike, as you can see, is that utterly useless Counter-Strike utility. So the fact that they're getting rid of that, hey, great, I haven't got a problem with that. But here's the thing. That 6-second cooldown on Shiv with re-established range gave us a 50% speed boost on Shiv. The amount of times that helped me, that's helped me survive, I didn't just take re-established range for the knockback, I also took it for the Shiv. Yes, the knockback was the most noticeable benefit to that, but if you knew how to use it, you could get a... Let me pause it here, and I'll go in game, and I'll show you. So, here we are, in game, and here we are, there's Shiv, 6-second cooldown, 4-meter. Now, I do have re-established range, obviously, because it's one of my must-have utilities for my playstyle. Now, I'm just going to use it. This is normal walking speed, okay? Now, as a sniper, it is important to reposition now and again, and it's important to time your repositioning in a way that you don't open yourselves up to attack. So to get from A to B as quickly as possible is an advantage. So what we are losing is this. You know, it's that movement speed. And oh, look at this. Yeah? Is this... If I can do it right. You know. Now this is huge. If you know how to use it properly. Yeah, it's kind of... It is one of the skills, one of the utilities, one of the parts of the established range a lot of people don't even think about. They're not even bothered about it. Well, for me, losing Shiv and therefore a 6-second cooldown speed boost, obviously when we've got a target to Shiv, is huge. It is so huge. I mean, one of the things I used to like doing was debilitate. As I'm getting up, I'm moving away, Shiv, and get away. That was a great thing. As you're getting up and you're going away, you give yourself that extra bit of a speed boost to get that much further away, or to get around that corner you can just about guess. That's not going to happen anymore, because what they have done instead. Look at this. Countermeasures. Cooldown. 45 seconds. So what we are getting is a huge nerf in that speed boost. Now let's go back to the stuff. So here we are again. Okay, I'm just gonna keep it on there. Countermeasures purges all movement impairing effects. Yes, that's a nice little buff. And grants re-established range, increasing your movement speed from 50% to 75% for 6 seconds. I don't care that it's boosting it from 50% to 75%. I don't care that it's boosting it from 3 seconds to 6 seconds. Because the duration of countermeasures is 45 seconds. It's just think about that. I realise re-established range, that speed boost on Shiv, isn't something many people were bothered about. But think about what we are actually losing and what we are actually gaining. 75% for 6 seconds. Great! But it's 45 seconds. Yeah, there's good parts to this, and for me, re-established range was one of my must-have skills. It's one of the ones I will not do without it. It was that important. That combination of the speed boost on Shiv every 6 seconds to the knockback on SWTOR shots, or penetrating blast if you're a marksman. No taste. Just saying. With this change, I am still going to choose it, but because of the knockback, and I'm engineering, so SWTOR shots is a very, very, very important skill for my spec, the way I play. You know, if you're engineering, you've got to use SWTOR shots. So because you're constantly using it, that knockback, re-established range is still going to be important. But it is lessened considerably in importance in my eyes because of this one change. Now, I know I've said a fair bit about it, but for me, from what I have seen, this is the thing I am upset about the most. So, with all that said, I'm going to move on to the other stuff. I mean, give me your opinions in the description below as to what you think about that. You know, I know pre-established range is not to everybody's tastes, but seriously, have a think as to what we are losing. And then see if you're actually happy with it. Going up to the discipline changes. No, all these are passives here. Now, I'll do the marksman one first. Damage dealing with ambush to a target with less than 30% health grants finish the job, increasing the damage of your next takedown by 20%. Now, in one respect, I haven't got a problem with that because I realise snipers in PvE who play marksman have suffered because of the lack of burst. The lack of producing the burst in the way they did hits the sustainable damage, which is so important for our PvE friends. So yes, they needed some kind of change, but I don't like this because of PvP. I'm sorry, sue me. I don't care, but I do care. But it's like my interest is in PvP. All right, it's sue me. Marksman at this precise moment in time in today's game does not need any more burst. It might be different for PvE, but any buff to any bursty skills like takedown, even though it is only when the target is below 30%, I just don't like it. I'm sorry, and there's another reason for this as well. Now let's see if I can find it. Here it is. One of the new utilities we are getting, Flashbang and Maim. Maim is our replacement for Debilitate, don't forget, grants Executioner, allowing your next takedown within 6 seconds to be used regardless of the target's remaining health and dealing 15% additional damage. So that's potentially a 35% additional damage to takedown. Takedown's quite a hard hitting skill anyway, especially for marksmen. I just don't know how I feel about that. I mean, lethality, also virulence. Sorry, I'm still in the pre 4.0 era. Anyway, virulence gets a reset on takedown once they finish a cull. It resets the duration of takedown, so they can use it anytime they want. So I know Violence. I have played Violence, obviously, because of my Sniper Evolution stuff and the previous stuff before that, but it's not one I can visualize as best as the other two. But I would like to think that Violence would like this. They use takedown more than the other two. Marksman is getting a boost already to takedown, so engineering is not going to benefit from this as much. Now, what it does mean, thinking about it, because flashbang for engineering is a real pain in the ass. It really is. To get the full benefit of flashbang, we have zero option but to cast flashbang on another target. And in one respect, this is my problem. This is not going to be as great for engineering as it is for the other two, because Snipe grants electrified rail shots, which is our dot. Fragmentation grenade generates a charge of electrified railgun, which is a dot. So does series of shots. We have got plasma probe, which is a static AoE dot, essentially. We've got interrogation probe, which is a dot. Corrosive dart, which is a dot. We are losing overload shot. So, in one respect, I'm actually trying to think we're losing Shiv as well. Have we actually got a skill which I have completely forgotten about, which doesn't give a dot? And of course, any damage breaks flashbang. So already engineering is at a disadvantage over the other two, because marksman only has one dot, corrosive dart. Don't use it. It's quite simple, and you can get a good advantage on flashbang. Lethality can use flashbang on and the dots they have applied to that particular target won't break the flashbang. If there's someone else dots on it, then yes, it'll get broken. But it's my point in all of this is flashbang is used for engineering to help control the areas. You are not going to want to. I guess in one respect it would help. See, part of this vid is me thinking it through. If I flashbang a target I don't want to attack, then that's going to finish the. An aim will be to use takedown. Now, what I'm interested in, does that mean regardless of the target's remaining health? So yeah, I'm guessing that could work. Flashbang one target, go to the second target, takedown, and then proceed with the best. So yeah, okay, I can see some benefit to that. That could be nice for engineering. I guess I'm changing my tune in one respect. But I'm still not happy in respect that marksman is getting that extra bit of burst, which is essentially what it is. That's just me, I'm afraid. Anyway, moving on. Marksman did need a bit of a boost, so I can accept it, but it's kind of marksman doesn't need any help in PvP, not in respect of their burst. Violence. Breathing Blast applies whacking erosion to the target, which causes internal damage the next time the target takes damage from your corrosive grenade. Okay, haven't really got any comments on that, I have to say. It's try to see, I guess. Now this engineering run is interesting if you have a look. When EMP discharge damages a target, conductive conduit deals additional energy damage per stack of electrified railgun on the target. Now, as a reminder, fragmentation grenades, SWTOR shots, snipe, builds electrified railgun, and we can only have a maximum of 3 charges at a time. So, just make sure you've got your 3. It's going to help when you're in one-on-one situations. You know, it's going to help for PvP as well. It's the kind of thing I can see getting nerfed because people are saying engineering is already pretty good in PvP. So I can see some changes to this one being done, or to other skills. Additionally, EMP discharge harms up to 7 other enemy targets within 5 meters if the primary target is affected by your electrified railgun. Yeah, see, my problem with that is 5 meters. It's like, really? 5 meters is a very small area. It's hardly nothing. I'm trying to think. I guess in one respect, it's going to be objective-wise, that could be helpful as an additional interrupt. Chuck a fragmentation grenades down. Well, no, it's got a interrogation probe on a target, fragmentation grenade, and then EMP discharge. If you've got a collection of idiots trying to group cap something, but then you just put down that's quite wouldn't be that efficient. Hopefully you would get noticed and pounced upon by then, and you would just put plasma probe down anyway. So it's not that great, I think, for objective gameplay. For damage, yeah, okay, not a problem. But 5 meters is kind of... Make it the same area as plasma probe, at least, I think, because that's 8 meters, and that gives a bit more of a help. I haven't really got a problem with this per se. It's another AoE, essentially, which, bearing in mind, we do get a 10% boost. What's it? It's our 74, 72, something like that. Passive that we get in engineering gives a 10% boost to AoE damage. So this is another AoE which will... It's nice. We'll have to see how it goes, you know. So, utility changes. I've already gone through the established range. Let's go through the new utilities. I've gone through Executioner as well, so I'll go down to this one. Fortuitous Bedlam. Good name, I have to say. Diversion grants 1 stack of Fortuitous Bedlam for every 2 targets initially affected, increasing armor penetration by 15% per stack, lasting for 8 seconds. Off the top of my head, Marksman already has... I'm not hating on Marksman, it's just the way my brain is thinking. Marksman already has armor penetration. I remember reading, I can't remember whether it's all their skills or... But they get some kind of armor penetration on some of the skills already. So, already, in terms of armor penetration, Marksman is ahead. I can't really see any bad things about this. I mean, Marksman does need the armor penetration because most of their damage is white anyway, so that's fair enough. Yeah. Now, what I'm interested with this one is if they leave the affected area by diversion, will they still have that 15% armor penetration? Yeah, or is it when they leave diversion that will get lost? Because that's my only problem with that. Diversion at the moment, unless you choose that skill which puts a slow on diversion, you're never ever going to get the best effect out of diversion, because those who know what they're doing will just simply walk off and attack via a different method, you know. Can't see any problem with it, but that's just the thing which I'm interested in, is that kept when they leave the area. Reinforcing retreat. Covered escape heals you for 10% of your maximum health. Additionally, evasion now lasts 5 seconds. Haven't got a problem with any of that. My only problem with that is I hope this is not going to be a top tier utility. I really don't. Because, put it masterful, maybe. Not skillful, but masterful. It shouldn't be top tier utility. I mean, evasion for violence, or lethality as it was back then, in their tree, their skill tree, they had a buff to evasion, so evasion for violence snipers lasted for 5 seconds, not 3. So when 4.0 came out, they actually lost that extra 2 seconds. So for violence, lethality veterans, this is a throwback to them, that they get their full 5-second evasion back. And we all know what evasion does, so that's great, it's not a problem. This is a good utility. I will consider getting it. Not just for evasion, but for that 10% heal as well. Don't forget, we do get a reset on Covered Escape with Imperial Preparation. So that's 20% of our health. But that does come with a huge cost of resetting some very important defensive skills. So it's a bit of a trade-off in that respect. But I don't think it should be... it probably will be, of course, because it's a heal for snipers, so... It's also one of these things I can see people complaining about as well. Sniper? Healing? No, that must be nerfed. Must be 1% at least. So, a final one. Counter-offensive safeguards. When Ballistic Shield is activated, you gain a charge of counter-offensive safeguards for up to 4 enemies inside your Ballistic Shield. Each charge increases your damage reduction by 5%. So essentially, if there's 4 enemies within that Ballistic Shield, that's 20% damage reduction. Which, okay, that's nice. While you're inside Ballistic Shield, you heal for 3% of your maximum health every second, and you're immune to being pulled or knocked around. To try and put some kind of figures in that, the average sniper in PvP has around 70,000 health. 71,000, 72,000, something like that. So 1% would be around 700 health. 2% being 1,400. 3% of course being 2,100 health. So that's saying we get 2,100 health in today's game, obviously, every second for the duration of Ballistic Shield. Which is nice. The problem with that is Ballistic Shield has a long cooldown. I mean, what is it, 2 minutes? 2 minutes 30? It's something like that. So that's the only snag with that. Can't complain, because one of the problems I've always found is the fact that you can be pulled or knocked around, or it doesn't prevent us from being booted and stunned, of course, but then if we get healed, I can't see any. That's a strong one. I don't think that's another one I would seriously consider doing, getting. I think most snipers would. To be honest, the one reason why I wouldn't really is because it is a 2 minute 30 seconds cooldown. It's going to be a powerful utility, but it's not something you're going to. If there's another utility or there's another setup for me, for my playstyle, which means I get the benefit of something else a lot more often than Ballistic Shield, I think I might go for that. But it all depends, you know. It's basically wait and see. So let's get to the merged utilities. Stroke of Genius. Now, for me, Stroke of Genius was never one thing. In a month of Sundays, would I ever take a month of Sundays? A century, a millennium of Sundays? It's just, for me, next to useless. I'd never choose it. I would never ever actually suggest to someone, actually, choose Stroke of Genius, it's helpful. I know people do, it's just my own personal opinion. So the fact they are getting rid of pulse screen, and they are merging it with Stroke of Genius, does actually mean, because pulse screen is something I do tend to pick, not all the time, but you know, I'll chop and change it to a couple of other things, but pulse screen is one, which does mean I would actually end up choosing Stroke of Genius, not for the snipe on the cover pulse, but for the pulse screen part of it. So I haven't got any problems with that. It is actually making a useless utility actually useful, in the sense that it's giving it a useful part of something else, you know. Lumbering impact. Now, I know this is something people tend to prefer over re-established range. Personal choice. Shatter Shot reduces the movement speed of the target by 50% for 10 seconds. But it's been merged with Flash Powder. In addition, after Flashbang ends, the target's accuracy is decreased by 20% for 8 seconds. That tooltip's not quite right. Again, I haven't really got a problem with that, to be honest. The one thing which springs to mind, Lumbering Impact is a masterful utility. Flash Powder is a skillful utility. So, with all of these utilities, I am very, very interested to see exactly what tier each of these are going to be on, because depending on what tier they are on, it's going to highly change what we can actually pick. Yeah, because you can't really turn around and say, yes, I'm going to pick that, I'm going to pick that, I'm going to pick that, until you actually see, you know, the actual setup of the utilities, which sections they are in. So yeah, I've already gone over that one. Hold your ground. Let's go down here a bit. There we go. Emerging cover screen. When exiting cover, you increase your range. I don't think anybody really chose that. Hold your ground reduces the cooldown of shield probe and cover pulse by 5 seconds, and escape by 30 seconds. In addition, when exiting cover, you gain a cover screen that increases your range defense by 20% for 6 seconds. I don't think there's anything... I mean, people won't be choosing hold your ground for the cover screen part of it. They'll be choosing it for the cooldown reductions. So, I haven't really got a problem either way of that, to be honest. Change utilities. Calculated Pursuit. You gain 4 charges of Calculated Pursuits upon exiting cover. Now what that used to see, as you can see with the red, it used to provide us 4 free charges of overload shots. Because we are losing overload shots, they are giving it to snipe instead. This is going to be huge for marksmen. Because, let's see, which, out of our marksman, violence and engineering, which discipline is it which tends to use snipe the most? Oh, that's right. It's marksman. Ugh. I don't know. It's... yeah. I mean, marksman was the least mobile of all of them. My one problem with this is Calculate Pursuit is not one I ever chose for, you know, endgame PvP, but it was brilliant for leveling a character, you know, low level PvP and indeed PvE as well, because energy management at the lower levels isn't the best. I mean, let's be honest, it is very, very easy to whoops. I've used one too many skills. I mean, I'm used to level 65, so I'm used to all these other things, and, you know, it's... But now we're losing that, because it doesn't turn around and say it's free charge, you know, it's free energy cost for snipe. It just says allow snipe to be activated while moving. So, I don't know precisely how I feel about that. It is going to be very good for marksman snipers. Excuse me. As engineering, yes, I tend to use snipe, but once in a blue moon, basically. It's not an important skill. What this doesn't say, interestingly enough, is lethality shot. I'm assuming that is a tooltip issue, because lethal shot actually for violent snipers actually replaces snipe, doesn't it? So that's extra mobility for them. So this is a utility which, yeah, I guess you could choose it for engineering, but I don't really see why you would. because we're quite mobile anyway. I'm gonna have to try it. I think that's the thing with it. I'm gonna have to actually try it. I'm gonna have to try it. Over-prepared. Reduces the cooldown of Imperial Preparation. Imperial Preparation, by the way, gives a reset on our defensive skills, including counter measures. It's basically increasing the cooldown reduction, damage reduction, and how long it goes on for. I don't know. I mean, Imperial Preparation is a 3-minute cooldown. I don't know if it's something I would want to pick. I see the advantages of it, don't get me wrong. And if you're someone who duels a lot, yeah, sure, okay, maybe it's something which is good for that. If you're someone who does arena, solo queue or group arena, yeah, okay, that's going to be a good one for that. Because you'll get it that much quicker. But for me, I don't know. It's not when I'm. Oh, great! That's a good change. I mean, it's a nice change. It's welcome, but I don't know if I'd pick it. Vital regulators. While in cover, you heal for 2%, not 1%, of your total health for every 3 seconds. So again, in today's health pool, 1% is 700, so 2% is 1,400. Obviously, those figures are going to be different in 5.0 because we'll be at a high level, which means more health. I'm assuming we'll get around 90k health, something like that. So that would be around, if that's true, 900 health for 1%, 1800 health. But it's, I don't know, that's something else. It's going to have to be tried and tested. 1% was just useless, so I would just never choose it. 2%, I don't know. I mean, if you choose vital regulators and and this one, it would mean because it says you heal for 3% of your maximum health every second. So once every 3 seconds, you would get a 5% heal, which is nice. So the combination of those two with this one might be nice, but again, it still didn't change the fact ballistic shield is a long cooldown. So we've got a cosmetic change to that passive. So yeah, that's the sniper. That's the sniper changes. There's some interesting stuff there. There's a lot of stuff which sounds interesting. There's a lot of stuff which needs to be tested, I think. I'm going to preserve judgment on a lot of things until I've actually had a chance to use it myself. And I think that's the trick. I mean, don't forget, this is still in PTS on... this isn't live. Until the game goes live, every single one of these could be changed. So please bear that in mind. But yeah, let me know what you think. I'm going to put on a couple of other things after this about some of the other... I'm not going to go through all the other classes, all the other specs, but there's a couple of things I've noticed I just want to say. One in particular, which I will go straight on to, if you give me a tick. So yes, here we are. Operatives. I hate operatives. I do have an operative, which you'll see in a little while, but there's one particular utility on here they are getting, which is a throwback to the 1.0 era. Now, for those of you who were around for 1.0 and you did play a sniper in those times, you will remember with dread what I'm talking about. Those of you who weren't around for that time, or were but did not play a sniper, listen carefully. Back in the 1.0 era, electrocutes, I think it's called, the hard stun assassins and sorks have. Electrocutes for assassins was always 10 meters, but with potency, I think that's the name of the skill. Actually, that might be the shadow version. But anyway, the thing which gives you that charge, by hitting that skill, it would boost the range of lightning and electrocutes to 30 meters. So all they had to do was to hit that skill, electrocute us, and then pull us. Because don't forget, back in those days, you didn't have this disciplined stuff. You had a tree. And assassins have always been one of those where a lot of people did a hybrid. So there was a lot of assassins with that pull skill from the tanking tree. So they would electrocute us, stun us to get us out of cover, pull us, and then proceed to dump on us, and it was a pain in the ass. Power techs, they're hard stun. Exactly the same thing. They would stun us, pull us, and then proceed to dump on us. It's kind of... the amount of headaches I got from the casters back in those days was unbelievable, and many other vanguards. It's kind of... I remember when they changed that, when they reverted the hard stuns to, you know, melee range. It's kind of, oh, the outcry. But the joy from the snipers, yes, I could actually not be pulled all over the place, and it was good. It was a very welcome change. I do not want to go back to those days. We are going back to those days. How many operatives are in the game in PvP? They are like a plague. They are everywhere. You even get guilds, not naming any in particular on the Reddit clips, shall we say, which like to run full-man operative groups. There's too many operatives around. This cannot go in. It's kind of, no. It's not needed. Mobile assailer, have a look at that. Exfiltrate, which is their role, which we all know, and we all know that. It grants a charge of mobile assailer, reducing the enemy cost of your next overload shot by 100%. That, in one respect, is not a problem. They're basically taking it from that utility in snipers and giving it to operatives. Hey, not a problem. Allowing it to be used at 30 meters. The overload shot normally for operatives is 10 meters. So it's interesting they are giving them, because they are taking away snipe from operatives, because operatives are a melee character class, and then they are giving it a damage skill which can be used at 30 meters. There must be a bit of a logic issue there, I have to say. It's kind of, they are either a melee class or they are not a melee class. It's like, make up your mind. But that's not even the worst thing. That overload shot at 30 meters makes it knock the target back. Let that sink in for a bit. You exfiltrate. You gain a shot, a charge of mobile assailer. You can knock someone back. They then roll again. They can knock the target back again. 10 seconds later, they can roll and knock the target back. They can do another one within 10 seconds, and it goes on, and on, and on, and on. That is insane. There is Operatives, and I don't say this in a bad way, I don't, but they are extremely good at kiting. They are very, very good at kiting. This particular utility is going to give them an additional tool to kite even better. So if you thought it was bad enough to get them now, they can actually knock you back at the same time. Now granted, we don't know what the distance is on this knockback, and it doesn't say you're rooted either, so at least that's one thing. But it's just that extra bit. Sometimes timing is everything in PvP, and if you work it well, you can knock someone back, and that will just about give you enough time to escape around a corner. Okay, it's kind of that kind of thing I'm thinking of in terms of the knockback. So here we are on my operative, and I'm just going to, well, that would give them a knockback. That's going to give them a knockback. And we've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And they've got a knockback. They've got another knockback. You know, it's even if it's a thing, because they get a charge. That's the thing. So they can either do. Now they've got 2 charges. You know, it's. They don't need any more help against snipers, and giving them a 30-meter knockback is going to get us up out of cover. Now, I know they cannot pull us, but they can knock us out of cover, and if you are a sniper, you know damn well, as soon as we are out of cover, there are classes, there are players, especially the good ones, who are constantly keeping an eye for when, aha, he's out of cover, I'm going to get him, I'm going to smash him, I'm going to ravage him. That did come out precisely the right way I meant, but you get what I mean. You know, it's not helpful. And it's kind of... Operatives are going to be ecstatic for this. They're going to love it. And I can see why. In all honesty, if I had this on a sniper, it'd be bloody brilliant. You know, but then if I had a double wall like they've got, I would enjoy it. So... that's just a small little practical demonstration just to show you exactly how often they are going to be able to knock us back. And if you have got multiple operatives, like of course you're going to, with that utility, and I can't imagine why they wouldn't choose it over other things, and they on voice comms with, you know, if they can, I mean, it doesn't have to be a Juggernaut or a Marauder. It could be a Powertech. It could be an Assassin. You know, it could either be one stealth could do a roll, open out of stealth with an overload shot to knock us back. Another stealth who remains stealth uses hollow traverse and opens up from stealth. The other, you know, there's a lot you can do with this. It's just so powerful. It's too powerful. It's got to change. I hope it changes. Operatives do get caught out of stealth. They do. All they need to do with snipers now is to exfiltrate. Use overload shot on us. That'll take us out of cover. They can then use their hollow traverse, is it, or their leap thing. Yes, I know there's issues with that, but it's still a tool they can use. And leap straight to us. Distance closed. You know, it's... I'm not a fan of that. They can also use that in tandem if they are on, say, voice comms with a friend, and that friend happens to be a juggernaut or a marauder. I can't get to this sniper. Oh, don't worry, exfiltrate, overload shot, bang, out of cover. You get jumped to. It's that combination of which I don't happen to like. I mean, we get focused enough as it is anyway. This is not going to help. It's not needed. From a sniping point of view, I don't like it. I don't want it. Take it away. Give them something else. If we're going to give them something like that, then just move to 30 meters. Just make it 10 meters only, literally. I'd be happy with that. I wouldn't have a problem with that. It's that 30-meter range. It's kind of, what were they thinking? It's it's going back. It's not a stun, but it is only one class. But I don't know. Again, that's my viewpoint on it. There's too many operatives around, and this is an extremely powerful kiting tool. It's good for offense. It's good for defense. I would be surprised if there's not one operative who doesn't choose this. Let me know your own thoughts. And the other stealth class, Sith Assassin / Jedi Shadow. They are losing phase walk. It is for sorcerers and sages only. I do have a shadow. I do have an assassin. I'm absolutely hopeless on the class, so I can't comment on a lot of that stuff, whether it's good or bad. But I have to say, phase walk was a skill uniquely for Sith Assassin. That was their new skill for 3.0. And now it's been taken away from them. It's kind of, what's the justification? Sages do not need phase walk. If anything, sages need phase walk removed. Yes, I'm on that bandwagon. But anyway, it's immaterial. At the moment, it looks like they are losing phase walk. So from a purely sniper versus assassin / shadow point of view, this is a welcome change, because assassins are still a pain in the ass. Yes, I know they are not as good as they used to be, but they are still a pain. They can still create havoc. It can be difficult still to kill a decent shadow assassin. So this is interesting. It does mean that I fear assassins and shadows a lot less than I would at the moment if this goes through. Doesn't change anything about sorcerers and sages, so they've got too many escapes at the moment anyway. So yeah, that's a bit of a surprise. I've got to talk quickly because I think I can hear the drills starting up again. I did actually record a bit more on sorcerers, sages, and mercenaries commandos, but I can't show you that purely because of the amount of racket which came on. It's kind of, you can hardly hear what I'm saying. So apologies for that. So that's going to be the end of it. I'll just say, because it's a bit of a quiet at the moment. No, actually, I'm going to stop it here, I think. By all means, have a look in the description for the link in the description below. Have a look at mercenaries. Have a look at the new utilities they are getting, because I have to say they are nice. I think mercenaries, because of those utilities, is going to be good for all specs. And with the rising noise of drilling, I'm going to say keep sniping, have fun, and I'll see you again. Oh, that I'm gonna have to take some paracetamol. See ya.